The sky over New York turned purple on a Tuesday morning. Not the soft purple of dawn or the deep purple of a storm, but an electric, unnatural purple that made people stop and stare. Traffic halted. Phone calls ended mid-sentence. Children pointed, upward, their eyes wide with wonder and fear. "It's happening," whispered Mark Jones, a street vendor who had been selling hot dogs at the same corner for 20 years. He had always believed that someday aliens would come. Now, as the massive shadow of something impossibly large darkened the city, he knew he had been right. All across Earth, the scene repeated. In Beijing, Moscow, London, Rio, and 100 other cities, the same purple light filled the sky. The same massive ships appeared, hanging in the air like metal mountains. For 3 days, the ships just watched. They made no moves. They sent no messages. The world's governments tried to contact them but got no answer. Some people ran and hid. Others celebrated in the streets, thinking the aliens had come to save humanity. Most just waited, wondering what would happen next. On the 4th day, the aliens spoke. "People of Earth." The voice came through every radio, every TV, every phone, and even devices that were turned off. "We are the Galactic Council. We have watched your world for many years. The time has come for you to join us." The voice was deep and strange, like it was coming from something not made to speak human languages. It explained that the Council ruled over 500 worlds across the galaxy. Earth would be the 501st. The world's leaders gathered in an emergency meeting at the United Nations. They chose Admiral James Wilson to speak for Earth. At 62, Wilson had led peace talks during the last war, which had finally ended all major fighting on Earth 10 years earlier. His calm blue eyes and steady voice made people trust him. "We need to be careful," Wilson told the room full of nervous leaders. "We don't know what they want from us." The aliens asked for a meeting, and Wilson agreed. The next day, a smaller ship landed in a field outside of New York. Wilson stood waiting, along with 20 other representatives from around the world. They watched as a door opened in the side of the ship, and 3 tall figures stepped out. The aliens were not what anyone expected. They looked almost like humans, but taller and thinner, with skin that shifted colors slightly as they moved. Their eyes were large and completely black. They wore simple gray clothes that seemed to move with them like a second skin. "I am Ambassador Lorne," said the one in front. Its voice sounded more normal now, though still deep and strange. "I speak for the Galactic Council. We are pleased to welcome Earth to our community of worlds." Over the next week, Lorne and the other aliens explained many things. The galaxy was mostly peaceful now, but there was a threat. Something they called the dark space threat was attacking worlds at the edge of known space. Every member of the Boer Council had to help fight this enemy. "We need soldiers," Lorne said. "Earth has many strong fighters. Your people have fought many wars. You understand battle. You will join our forces and help defend the galaxy." The aliens offered amazing things. In return, they would share medicine that could cure almost any disease. They would give technology that could end hunger and fix Earth's damaged environment. They would teach humans how to travel between stars. But there was one condition. Earth had to send 1 million soldiers to fight in the Council's war. Wilson listened to all this with a serious face. When the aliens finished speaking, he asked for time to discuss their offer with Earth's leaders. Lorne agreed to give them 3 days. The debate was fierce. Many leaders wanted to accept the offer right away. The alien technology could solve so many problems. Others were afraid and wanted nothing to do with the aliens or their war. Wilson sat quietly through hours of argument. Finally, when everyone had spoken, he stood up. 10 years ago, he said, we ended the last war. We promised ourselves and our children that Earth would never again send its people to die in battles. We have worked hard to keep that promise. And now these visitors from the stars ask us to break it. He looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each leader. I believe we should join this Galactic Council, he continued. We should learn from them, trade with them, become part of the larger community of worlds, but we should not fight their war. The room erupted in angry shouts and worried questions. Some leaders banged their fists on the table, others looked thoughtful. "They might attack us if we refuse," said the leader of Russia. "They might attack us anyway someday," Wilson replied. "But we will not be the ones to break our promise of peace." After 2 more days of discussion, the vote was taken. It was close, but in the end, most leaders agreed with Wilson. Earth would join the Galactic Council, but would not send soldiers to fight. When Wilson told Ambassador Lorne the decision, the alien's skin turned a dark blue color. Its large black eyes blinked rapidly. "This is not done," Lorne said. "No world has ever refused the call to arms. It is your duty to fight for the galaxy that now protects you." "We understand your disappointment," Wilson said calmly. "But Earth has seen too much war. We will gladly offer other help. Our doctors are excellent. We can provide medical aid to your soldiers. We can help with food, supplies, and peaceful solutions. But we will not fight your war." Lorne and the other aliens talked among themselves in their own language, which sounded like music and whispers mixed together. Finally, Lorne turned back to Wilson. "This is not the normal way," the alien said. "But the Council values Earth's potential. We will accept your unusual terms. You may join as a non-military member, providing medical and humanitarian support only." The agreement was signed the next day. The aliens gave Earth their first gifts of technology, machines that could clean polluted water and air, and medical devices that could heal injuries in minutes. They also set up a small station in orbit around Earth, with 20 alien representatives who would help humans learn about their new place in the galaxy. As the main alien ships prepared to leave, Ambassador Lorne had one last meeting with Wilson. "Admiral Wilson," the alien said, "I respect your world's choice, though I do not understand it. But you should know that the Council has existed for thousands of years because all members do their part in our common defense. Your world is taking a risk by standing apart." Wilson nodded. "Every choice has risks, Ambassador, but some principles are worth those risks." Lorne's skin shifted to a lighter shade. "I hope you do not come to regret this decision." As the massive ships lifted away from Earth, turning the sky purple one last time before disappearing into space, Wilson watched from his office window. He felt both hope and worry. "We will not fight your war," he whispered to the empty sky. "But I hope we have not started our own." The words hung in the air as the sky returned to its normal blue. Earth had made its choice. Now they would have to live with it. 20 years passed after Earth joined the Galactic Council. The world changed in ways no one could have imagined before the aliens came. Tom Reed walked through the busy hospital on the alien planet Nexus. At 45, his hair was starting to turn gray at the sides, but his eyes were bright and full of energy. As the head of Earth's Interstellar Medical Corps, he had helped build 12 hospitals on different alien worlds. This one on Nexus was the largest. "Dr. Reed, we need you in room 7, called a nurse. Her skin was blue and she had 4 arms, but she wore the same white coat as human nurses back on Earth. Tom hurried down the hallway, passing aliens of 6 different species. Some were patients, others were doctors or visitors. 20 years ago, the sight would have shocked him. Now it was just his everyday life. Inside room 7, a young alien soldier lay on a bed. His green scaly skin was pale, and he breathed with difficulty. 3 other alien doctors stood nearby, looking worried. "Dark space weapon," one of them explained to Tom. "The damage spreads through the body. We can't stop it." Tom checked the soldier carefully. Earth had become famous throughout the galaxy for its medical skills. Humans couldn't match alien technology, but they understood pain, healing, and care in ways that surprised the other species. "We need to treat each affected area separately," Tom said. He took out special medicines developed by Earth scientists. "Human bodies fight infections in a similar way. We can adapt our methods." After 3 hours of careful work, the soldier's breathing improved. His skin began to return to its normal dark green color. "He will live," Tom told the other doctors. "And he can teach us more about these dark space weapons, so we can save more soldiers." Later that day, Tom sat in his office looking out the window at the strange purple trees of Nexus. The war against the dark space threat had grown worse over the years. Every month, more wounded soldiers came to his hospitals. Every month, the Council asked Earth to send fighters, not just doctors. His computer screen lit up with an incoming call from Earth. Admiral Wilson's face appeared. The Admiral was now in his 80s, his hair completely white, but his blue eyes were still sharp. "Tom," Wilson said, "how are things on Nexus?" "Busy," Tom replied. "The fighting is getting closer to this sector. We had 15 new patients, today with dark space weapon injuries." Wilson nodded, his face serious. "The Council is putting more pressure on us. Ambassador Lorne has been replaced." "Replaced? But Lorne has been our main contact for 20 years. The Council says Lorne was too soft on Earth. The new representative is called Commander Vex. He arrived yesterday and he's very different from Lorne." Tom frowned. "That doesn't sound good." "It isn't," Wilson agreed. "Vex made it clear that the Council is unhappy with our arrangement. They say we're taking advantage of the protection they provide while giving too little in return." Later that week, Tom watched the broadcast of the Galactic Council meeting. Earth now had a seat at the giant round table where representatives from all Council worlds met. Wilson sat in Earth's chair, looking small next to the larger alien species. Commander Vex stood at the center of the room. He was taller than Lorne had been, with dark red skin and eyes that glowed slightly. His voice was harsh as he spoke. "The war reaches a critical point," Vex announced. "All worlds must increase their military contributions, especially," he turned to look directly at Wilson, "those who have contributed no fighters at all." Wilson's voice was calm when he answered. "Earth continues to honor our agreement. Our medical teams have saved thousands of Council soldiers. Our scientists have developed new treatments for dark space weapons. We provide food, supplies, and support to 50 battle zones." Vex's eyes glowed brighter. "Medical teams, food, supplies." He said the words like they tasted bad. "While other worlds send their people to die, Earth sits safe behind the protection we provide. You are parasites, taking the benefits of Council membership while others pay the price in blood." Gasps came from around the room. No Council representative had ever spoken so harshly to another member world. Wilson didn't raise his voice. "We made our position clear 20 years ago, Commander. Earth will not fight your war. We contribute in other ways as agreed." "Perhaps that agreement was a mistake," Vex said. 3 days later, as Tom was finishing his work at the Nexus Hospital, a loud boom shook the building. The lights flickered and went out. Emergency lights came on, casting red shadows across the frightened faces of staff and patients. "What's happening?" Tom shouted, running into the hallway. A nurse with 6 legs came running toward him. "Council military exercise," she said. Something went wrong. Their weapons hit the east wing of the hospital. Tom's heart seemed to stop. The east wing had over 200 patients, most of them human doctors and nurses who were resting between shifts. He ran through the smoke-filled corridors, helping to carry injured people out of the damaged building. By the end of the day, the terrible news was clear. 189 humans and 45 aliens had died in the accident. When Tom called Earth to report what had happened, Wilson's face grew pale on the screen. "This was no accident," the Admiral said quietly. "It's a message from Vex and the Council." Over the next month, more accidents happened. A ship carrying medical supplies from Earth was destroyed by pirates, who somehow had Council military weapons. 3 more human medical stations reported equipment failures that killed dozens. Earth's government sent a formal complaint to the Galactic Council, demanding an investigation into these incidents. The Council meeting to discuss the complaint was short. Commander Vex dismissed the deaths as unfortunate but minor incidents in a time of war. "Perhaps," Vex added, looking at Wilson, "if Earth contributed actual fighters to the war effort, your people would be better protected." Wilson stood up from his chair, his old voice strong with anger. "Are you threatening us, Commander?" Vex's skin darkened to a deep crimson. "I am stating facts, Admiral. The galaxy is at war. In war, accidents happen. especially to those who refuse to do their part. After the meeting, Wilson called all Earth representatives from across the galaxy to an emergency discussion. Tom joined from Nexus, his face grim on the video screen. "They're trying to force us to join their war," Tom said. "These attacks are just the beginning." Wilson nodded. "The Council has changed since we joined. Vex represents a new, harder approach. They see our refusal to fight as weakness." "What do we do?" asked another representative. Wilson looked at each of their faces on his screen. "We stay true to our principles. We continue to heal, not harm. We help those we can. And," he paused, "we prepare. Because I fear worse is coming." As the call ended, Tom looked out his window at the stars above Nexus. Somewhere out there, the war against the dark space threat continued. But he couldn't help wondering if a new war was about to begin, one that would come to Earth itself. "We will not fight your war," he whispered, repeating Earth's old promise. He hoped it wouldn't become Earth's epitaph. The warning came too late. "Unknown ships entering the solar system," announced the operator at Earth's Spacewatch Center. On the big screen, 20 red dots moved quickly past Neptune, then Uranus. They were heading straight for Earth. "Try to contact them," ordered General Kate Brown, who had replaced the now-retired Admiral Wilson as Earth's military leader. At 50, she had never fought in a real war. No one on Earth had, not for almost 30 years. "No response, General," the operator said after a minute. "But their energy signatures match Galactic Council military ships." Kate grabbed her phone and called the Council's Earth station. "This is General Brown. We have Council ships entering our system without permission. Please explain." The alien face that appeared on her screen was not one she recognized. "Earth station is under new management," the alien said coldly. "Commander Vex sends his regards." The screen went black. Kate looked up at the big screen again. The red dots had passed Mars now. "How long until they reach Earth?" 6 hours, General." Kate took a deep breath. "Alert all defense stations. Call every military officer back to duty, including retired ones, and get me the President." Across Earth, people watched their screens in fear as the news spread. Alien ships were coming, and this time, they weren't coming in peace. In London, Mary Cooper was teaching a class on military history when her phone buzzed with an emergency alert. Mary was 45, with short gray hair and quick brown eyes. She had never served in the military but had studied every major battle in human history. "Class dismissed," she told her students after reading the message. "Go home to your families." As the students left, one young man stayed behind. "Professor Cooper, what's happening?" Mary looked at him sadly. "I think the history I've been teaching is about to become very useful." 6 hours later, the alien ships entered Earth orbit. They made no demands, sent no messages. They simply opened fire. The few defensive satellites Earth had were destroyed in minutes. Then the ships started targeting major cities. The shields that aliens had helped humans build 20 years ago stopped most of the damage, but not all of it. Buildings fell. Fires started. People died. As the sun set over a burning London, Mary Cooper made her way to the emergency government center set. Up in an old underground station, she had received a direct call from General Brown asking for her help. "Professor Cooper," Kate greeted her as she entered the crowded room filled with military officers and government officials. "Thank you for coming." "I'm not sure how a history teacher can help," Mary said honestly. Kate's face was grim. "You're the world's expert on how humans fought wars before we had alien technology. That knowledge just became the most valuable thing on Earth." On the screens around them, they could see alien ships landing in fields outside major cities. Troops were marching out wearing armor that glowed slightly in the darkness. "They expect us to be helpless," Kate said. "They think because we've had peace for 30 years, we've forgotten how to fight." Mary looked at the screens, her mind racing through the battles she had studied all her life. "They don't understand humans very well, do they?" Within hours, Mary was working with military leaders around the world, helping them remember tactics that hadn't been used in generations. The aliens had better technology, but they fought in ways that were predictable. They expected direct battles, Army against army. Mary had other ideas. In New York, the alien forces marched down Broadway, their weapons ready. They met no resistance at first. Then, from windows and rooftops, ordinary people attacked with whatever they had. Not soldiers, teachers, office workers, and store clerks who had been quickly taught by retired military personnel. They didn't try to win a direct fight. They hit and ran, disappeared into buildings, reappeared somewhere else. The same thing happened in every city the aliens entered. They would secure an area, only to find themselves under attack from another direction. Their advanced sensors couldn't tell fighters from civilians because everyone was both. In Paris, aliens taking control of the Eiffel Tower found the whole structure rigged with old explosives from a museum. In Tokyo, the subway system became a maze that aliens entered but couldn't navigate. In Rio, the narrow streets of old neighborhoods became death traps for alien patrols. A month into the invasion, Commander Vex called an emergency meeting aboard his ship in orbit. The alien leaders looked uncomfortable as they shared their reports. "We hold only 12% of the territory we expected to have by now," said one officer. "Human resistance is not what we expected." Vex's red skin had darkened with anger. "They refused to send soldiers to fight our war for 20 years. How can they suddenly know how to fight so well?" "They never forgot," said another officer. "They just chose not to." On the ground, Mary Cooper worked day and night from the moving headquarters of the human resistance. They never stayed in one place for long, using old trains and underground tunnels to move between cities. "They're trying to use their ships to track our communications," a young tech expert told her one night. Mary smiled. "Then we won't use modern communications." She pulled out old military radios that used frequencies the aliens didn't monitor. She set up messenger routes using bicycles and runners. She even used carrier pigeons found in a hobby shop. General Kate Brown worked closely with Mary. Between Kate's leadership and Mary's historical knowledge, they formed a resistance that grew stronger each day. "The aliens know how to fight a space war," Mary explained during a strategy meeting. "They don't know how to fight humans who don't play by their rules. They use tactics from every war in human history. Vietnam's tunnel systems, World War II's resistance networks, ancient Roman defensive formations, American Revolutionary War hit-and-run attacks. Every dirty trick, clever strategy, and desperate measure humans had ever invented was put to use." 2 months into the invasion, the aliens controlled only small areas around their landing ships. They had expected to take the whole planet in weeks. Now they found themselves surrounded in every city they had entered. In London, Mary watched from a hidden position as aliens tried to secure a bridge over the Thames. Her group had let them get halfway across before blowing up both ends, trapping the alien unit. "We're not winning yet," she told Kate over their secure radio. "But they're definitely losing." In orbit, Commander Vex received the latest reports with growing rage. What should have been an easy conquest of a peaceful world had turned into a nightmare. The Council had assured him that humans were soft, that they had forgotten the art of war in their decades of peace. The reports from his forces told a different story. Humans remembered war all too well. They just hadn't wanted to fight someone. "Elses, send more ships," Vex ordered. "Double the invasion force. I want this planet under control in 1 month. His second-in-command looked nervous. "Commander, the Council has not authorized more ships. They still officially deny involvement in this operation." Vex's eyes glowed dangerously. "Then I will take personal command on the ground. These humans will learn what it means to defy the Galactic Council." As night fell over the battlefields of Earth, Mary Cooper looked up at the stars, knowing the aliens were watching from above. "We will not fight your war," she whispered, repeating Earth's old promise. "But we will fight for our home." 3 months into the invasion, John Black sat in a small room under the ruins of what had once been a library in Chicago. At 37, he had dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep. Before the aliens came, he had been a professor of linguistics, studying how different languages worked. Now he studied the enemy. Around him were pieces of alien technology, broken communicators, damaged data pads, and parts of weapons. His small team had collected these from battlefields across North America. While others fought the aliens, directly John fought them with his mind, trying to understand their language and technology. "I think I've got something," he told Lisa, one of his team members. She had been a computer programmer before the war. Now she helped John break into alien devices. For weeks they had been collecting and studying alien communications. The aliens spoke many languages, including several human ones, but they used their own language for military orders. John had been trying to translate it. "Look at this pattern," he said, pointing to symbols on a screen. "It appears in every battle plan we've captured. I thought it was just a military code, but it's more than that." Lisa looked closely. "What does it mean?" "It's about the dark space threat," John said slowly. "The enemy the Council has been fighting for centuries, but something doesn't make sense." He showed her more translations. "See these reports? They talk about battles with the dark space forces, but the dates and locations don't match what we're told about the war. And look at these orders, they refer to simulated dark space attacks on Council worlds." Lisa's eyes widened. "Simulated? You mean fake?" John nodded, his face serious. "I need more data to be sure, but I think the dark space threat might not be real, or at least not what the Council told us it was." Over the next few days, John's team captured more alien communications and broke into secure files from a damaged alien ship. The more they learned, the clearer the picture became. "We need to get this to General Brown right away," John said, gathering their findings. Traveling across the war-torn country wasn't easy. John and Lisa moved mostly at night, using old subway tunnels and sewer systems to avoid alien patrols. They carried their precious data on small devices hidden in their clothes. After a week of dangerous travel, they reached the mobile headquarters, where General Brown and Mary Cooper were planning the next phase of Earth's defense. "This better be important," Kate said when they arrived. She looked tired. Leading a worldwide resistance against aliens with superior technology was not easy. "It is," John promised. "It changes everything." He connected his devices to their computer system and showed them what he had discovered. The room fell silent as they watched the evidence unfold. "The dark space threat isn't real," John explained. "At least, not the way the Council described it. There is something out there, but it's not an enemy force attacking the galaxy. It's just a natural phenomenon, a region of space with unusual energy patterns." Mary leaned forward. "But the Council has been at war with this threat for centuries." "No," John said. "They've been lying for centuries. The Council's ruling species invented the dark space threat to control the other worlds. They stage fake attacks on outer colonies, then demand soldiers and resources to fight the non-existent enemy." He showed them more translated files. "The real purpose of the Council's military is to keep member worlds in line. Any planet that grows too strong or questions the Council's authority gets a visit from dark space forces. The Council then either destroys them or forces them to send more troops to the fake war." Kate's face had gone pale. "So Earth was invaded not because we refused to fight, but because we questioned the Council's authority," Mary finished. "We showed other worlds that membership was possible without military service." "Exactly," John said. "We were setting a dangerous example. If other worlds followed our lead, the Council's control would fall apart." "Can we prove this?" Kate asked. "Can we show this to the other Council worlds?" John nodded. "That's why we came. If we can broadcast this information to both human fighters and alien troops, we might change the course of the war." They worked through the night, preparing the message and gathering all the evidence. John translated everything into the major languages of the Council worlds. By morning, they had a complete package of data, ready to broadcast. "We can use the aliens' own communication network," Lisa explained. "Their ships connect to a galaxy-wide system. If we can hack into one of their major transmitters, we can send this message everywhere." The plan was dangerous. The largest alien transmitter was in their main base in what had once been Washington, D.C. Breaking in would require a major attack, a distraction big enough to let a small team reach the communication center. Mary developed the strategy, using everything she had learned about alien weaknesses. Kate organized strike teams from resistance fighters across the eastern United States. John and Lisa prepared the technical side, making sure they could quickly upload their message once they reached the transmitter. The attack began at dawn 3 days later. Human fighters hit the alien base from multiple directions, using tactics the aliens still hadn't adapted to. While the main battle raged, John and Lisa, protected by a small team of soldiers, slipped into the base through an underground entrance Mary had discovered. "We have 10 minutes, maybe less," said the team leader as they reached the communication center. "Do what you need to do." Lisa quickly connected their devices to the alien system. "Uploading now," she said. "John, make sure the translation is working." On screens around the room, they could see their message beginning to broadcast. First, to all forces on Earth, then to ships in orbit, and finally to the wider galaxy. The evidence was clear, the translation precise. The great lie at the heart of the Galactic Council was exposed for all to see. Outside, the battle suddenly changed. Many alien soldiers, seeing the proof on their own devices, stopped fighting. Some put down their weapons entirely. Others turned on their commanders, demanding answers. Commander Vex, watching from his command ship in orbit, saw his forces falling into confusion. "Cut all communications," he shouted. "This is human trickery." But it was too late. The message had spread too far. Vex watched in rage as some of his own ships broke formation, their crews in open rebellion, after learning the truth. "If they won't obey," he snarled, "then they are no longer needed." He turned to his loyal officers. "Prepare the orbital weapons. If we can't control Earth, we will burn it." Back on the ground, John and his team were escaping the communication center when they received an urgent message from General Brown. "The alien fleet is repositioning," Kate's voice said through their communicators. "They're preparing for orbital bombardment. Get to shelter immediately." As they ran through the chaos of the battlefield, John looked up at the sky. They had exposed the truth, but had they just made things worse? Commander Vex might now destroy the entire planet rather than lose control. Was it worth it? Lisa asked, quietly as they reached a safe bunker. "Exposing the lie if it gets us all killed?" John thought about it for a moment. "The truth is always worth it," he finally said. "And we're not dead yet." Above them, Vex's fleet prepared to rain fire on Earth. But unknown to the humans below, something unexpected was happening among the stars. The message hadn't just reached Earth, it had reached hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. And many of them had questions for the Galactic Council. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth through the main viewing screen. His red skin had darkened to almost black with rage. 6 months of fighting had led to this moment. His invasion force was in disarray after John Black's revelation about the dark space threat, but Vex still had loyal ships. "Weapons locked on all major population centers," reported an officer. "Awaiting your command." Vex raised his hand to give the order that would destroy millions of lives. Then a new voice spoke. "Commander, we have multiple ships entering the system." Vex turned sharply. "Our reinforcements?" "No, sir. They're council ships, but not from our fleet. They're coming from at least 7 different council worlds." On the screen, dozens of new ships appeared, surrounding Vex's fleet. A communication signal flashed. "Open it," Vex ordered, his voice tense. The face that appeared on the screen was familiar. Ambassador Lorne, who had been replaced by Vex 20 months earlier. "Commander Vex?" Lorne said, his skin shifting to a cool blue color. "By order of the Galactic Council Reform Committee, you will stand down immediately." Vex's eyes widened. "Reform Committee? What nonsense is this?" "The truth about the dark space deception has spread across the galaxy," Lorne explained. "Many worlds have risen against the old council leadership. I speak for those worlds now." "Traitor," Vex spat. "No," Lorne replied calmly. "I am finally being loyal to the true purpose of the council, cooperation between worlds, not control over them." Vex looked at his officers, seeing doubt on many of their faces. "Fire the weapons," he ordered. "Destroy this planet before more are infected with its ideas." No one moved to obey. I said fire, Vex shouted. His second-in-command stepped forward. Sir, we joined to protect the galaxy from the dark space threat. If that threat isn't real, it doesn't matter, Vex snarled. What matters is order, control. The lesser worlds must be kept in line. As Vex raged, more of his officers backed away. On other ships in his fleet, similar scenes played out as crews refused orders to attack Earth. Lorne's voice was sad but firm. Commander Vex, you are relieved of duty. Surrender your ship. What happened next was quick. Vex tried to draw his weapon, but his own officers stopped him. Within an hour, he was under arrest, and control of the invasion fleet had passed to those loyal to the new Reform Committee. On Earth, people watched the alien ships with fear and hope. No one knew what the arrival of more alien vessels meant. Could they trust this Ambassador Lorne? Was this just another trick? In the underground command center, General Kate Brown received a communication request from the alien fleet. Should we answer it? She asked Mary Cooper and John Black, who stood beside her. We should hear what they have to say, Mary suggested. But be ready for anything. Kate accepted the call. Ambassador Lorne's face appeared on their screen. General Brown, Lorne said. I know you have no reason to trust me or any representative of the Council after what has happened, but I am here to offer peace, real peace this time. The last peace offer didn't work out so well for us, Kate replied coolly. Lorne's skin darkened with what humans had learned was shame in his species. What Commander Vex did was wrong. Many in the Council never approved of the invasion, but those who created the dark space lie had too much power. That has changed now. Over the next few hours, Lorne explained what had happened across the galaxy. John's broadcast of the truth had reached not just Earth but hundreds of worlds. Many had already suspected the dark space threat wasn't what the Council claimed. With proof finally available, rebellions had broken out on dozens of planets. In just 6 days, the old Council leadership has fallen, Lorne said. A reform committee has taken control, with representatives from many worlds, especially those who suffered most under the old system. Kate and her advisors listened carefully, looking for any sign of deception. John analyzed Lorne's language patterns, while Mary studied the historical parallels to other regime changes. What happens now? Kate finally asked. That depends partly on Earth, Lorne replied. Many worlds now look to your planet as a symbol of resistance against tyranny. Your choice to not fight the false war seems wise now, not weak. Your voice would be welcome in building a new galactic community. It took weeks of careful talks before Earth's leaders agreed to meet with the Reform Committee. The meeting was held in orbit above Earth, on a neutral ship. Admiral Wilson, now 85 and in poor health, insisted on attending alongside General Brown, Mary Cooper, and John Black. When Wilson entered the meeting room with the help of a cane, many alien representatives stood in respect. The old admiral had become a symbol of peaceful resistance throughout the galaxy. Admiral Wilson, Lorne greeted him. It is good to see you again, though I wish it were under better circumstances. Wilson nodded slowly. Better late than never, Ambassador. I understand you were working against Commander Vex from within all along. Not effectively enough, Lorne admitted. I should have acted sooner. The meeting lasted 3 days as representatives from 20 worlds discussed how to build a new galactic organization, not based on military control, but on cooperation and mutual benefit. On the 3rd day, Admiral Wilson addressed the gathering. 20 years ago, he said, his voice thin but clear, Earth made a choice that many thought foolish. We refused to fight someone else's war. We chose to heal rather than harm. That choice nearly destroyed us when the truth about that war was revealed. He looked around the room at the alien faces. Some looked very different from humans, but all shared the same serious attention. Now we have another choice to make, Wilson continued. We could turn away from the galaxy, focus only on rebuilding our world. Many on Earth would prefer that. There were murmurs around the room. Several alien representatives looked down, understanding the temptation. But that is not our answer, Wilson said, his voice growing stronger. Earth refuses to be defined by fear or anger, even after all we have suffered. He stood straighter, setting aside his cane. Instead, we offer the same answer. We gave 20 years ago, but with a new meaning. We will not fight your war, but we will work for everyone's peace. The room erupted in sounds of approval from a dozen different species. The new Galactic Confederation was born in that moment, not through military power, but through the choice to cooperate despite past wounds. In the months that followed, Earth became central to the new Confederation. Human doctors, including Tom Reed, returned to their healing work across the galaxy, but now as equals, not servants. Mary Cooper helped establish new educational exchanges to share knowledge between worlds. John Black led efforts to create better communication systems between species. Commander Vex and others who had led the Old Council faced justice for their crimes. Many were sentenced to help rebuild the worlds they had damaged, including Earth. 1 year after the invasion ended, Admiral Wilson stood on a hillside overlooking the rebuilt city of London. Despite his doctor's warnings, he had traveled to see the new Confederation headquarters being constructed there. "Did you ever think it would end this way?" General Brown asked, standing beside him. Wilson shook his head. "I hoped for peace, but I never imagined our refusal to fight would end up changing the galaxy." Below them, humans worked alongside aliens from a dozen worlds. Children who had hidden from alien soldiers now played with young aliens whose parents had come to help rebuild. "Earth refused to fight the galaxy," Wilson said softly, and in the end that refusal saved both. As the sun set over the new world they were building, the old admiral smiled. The answer Earth had given 20 years ago had finally been understood. True strength lies not in the willingness to fight, but in the courage to stand for peace even against the stars themselves.